Hey everyone, the Good Captain here, and welcome to Russia's round 6 in this game of Axis and Allies 1914 against a human opponent. Out-of-box setup, no bid. And let's do a quick review of Russia's turn. So Russia bought 5 infantry and saved 2, so they didn't add any artillery. It just looks like pure defensive work. Stacking up bodies for a defense of the capital. This appears to be I'm still exercising all these possibilities when you're playing with the Russian Revolution, and this looks like a prime setup for where the revolution might be a bigger, a much bigger benefit for the CP than it otherwise might. But anyway, I theorize, and I'll expand on that if it comes time to do that. Russia pushes out a blocker clearance team of 2 infantry and an artillery to hit Livonia, and moves 2 infantry into Karelia, obviously to hold it. I don't think this is an offensive push, but it could be, right? Because the most we could now bring in is this infantry, and a sea lift in an artillery, or 2 artillery, or 2 infantry, or an infantry. Anyway, you get it. Three land ground units plus offshore, and that's something like 70. With an RD2 infantry offshore, that's like a 70% chance we kill those infantry and take Karelia. But I don't intend to do that. At least not yet. So the combat. There's always a 1 in 6. There's always a possibility that the clearance team doesn't do its job, and that's what happened here. They completely whiffed, and so did the German defending. So nobody did anything to anyone. That's really good for me. It means the Russians don't collect those 2 IPCs. It gives me an opportunity to smash all 3 of these pieces, and of course they could all roll hits when they die, but not a bad start for this, what ends up being pretty much a swap, a peace swap whenever this happens. Place all their units in Moscow, and the turn ends. So they collect 10, 2, 6, 1, and 1. But because they save 2, they now have 12, so he'll have an artificial 4 for next turn. I say artificial because, he only got that by saving assets. He only made 10, so I'm hoping next turn they produce 4, and then after that they're struggling to produce 3. That's going to be the goal. Get that economy as small as we can get it. Okay, so that's the review of Russia's turn. Germany will, again, tank churn, 1 a turn. We need 2 fighters. I'm kicking myself for not having purchased a fighter last turn. Yeah, it was just not the most intelligent. So 4, 5, 6. The French have 6 fighters on the map, and at the end of this turn, I'll have 7, which is, in my opinion, the appropriate fighter build-up as the CP. You really kind of need to have 1 more than your opponent. So, all right, let's do the Western Front first. This, to me, seems pretty obvious. We have to take back the Ruhr. It was probably a mistake to let it go to risk the way I risked it was probably a mistake. So we send everybody in. This is a smash. We leave one infantry as a blocker in the rear. Alsace, I should say, and in Kiel, I've decided to send just 3 infantry towards the west front, or east front, I should say, and everybody else is going to try to work on this problem out here, and this is becoming a problem. So the thing I don't like about this west front situation is that I'm going 50-50 on fighters. He has 5 fighters in position, I have 5 fighters in position. And when I do the math, I just don't see any other way around this, though. He can't be allowed to have the Ruhr. The British are a defensive asset, so like the French push and the British fall in behind to consolidate the gain. I need to clear the Ruhr now so that the French have to fight for it in a pitched battle that hopefully stings them, and I have to put everything on the line in terms of my air assets to try to prevent this, because if I even have 1 fighter left over, I've got 15 artillery and 26 infantry. I might lose 1 here. They might kill 2, and I can ignore 1, but the defending units might kill 2, and so I might have 25, so let's just say 25. They've got 36, and just a handful of artillery, thankfully. Let's say they lose the air battle. Okay, that's a huge, that doesn't count the losses in fighters, whatever they end up losing if I win. So neg 19, that's -6 pieces. And I'm in a decent position for counterattack. I've got 8 infantry and an armor at least on standby behind me in Hanover, with 2 armors on the attack and with air superiority. It's true, the Brits could come in, right? Yeah, so we can actually kind of project this. I'll just take a moment and do so now. So if we won the air battle, and then we swap sides, the French would have 19 pieces left on average. So like that. And the Germans would have 25, so like that. Okay, and then I bring in the 2 planes that I just built, plus 8 infantry. I'm not going to count the Kiel and Alsace infantry. Those could be too easily removed, so if we have them, that's great. And then also 2 armor. So at the end of the French turn, that could be the situation. But then the British go, right? And then they could move in 11 pieces, bringing 13 to 24, and 6 to 10. Okay, so even if I have air superiority and the British reinforce, yeah, it's still positive 4 pieces in my favor. But if they gain air superiority, the piece count would be different, and yeah, so much. Wow, it's -1.5, probably more like -2 or 3 pieces. Not to say anything about what would happen in the first battle if the French had air superiority. So this was definitely a mistake and a improvement for a future game if this ends up being the reason I lose. If he decides to engage in this coin flip battle and wins the air battle, I should say, that coin flip air battle, because it is essentially a coin flip here. Just show you how this works. When you have an air battle, it has to be fought. It's 5 versus 5, and the thing is that the chance of a draw reduces. It's 50-50, but the chance for a draw reduces the more pieces that are involved. So it's 49-348. I don't know why that. Anyway, there's basically a teeny like a 2 or 3% chance of a draw, and the rest is split 50-50. And if you just keep upping the amount of pieces, let's say it was 9 air units versus 9 air units, the chance for a draw is going to reduce to like 1 or 0%. Yeah, there it is. So, you know, the addition of more pieces just reduces the chance of a draw. But I have to do this. I got to do what I got to do. I hope this. I have to play chicken with the air. I can't not do it. So I mean, at least in that sense, it's a fairly easy move. Up here, we need to. I've decided I'm going to send 1 infantry into Finland via sea lift, and I'm going to relocate the navy to Berlin. I think this Holland push is, you know, he can deactivate the minefield by taking Kiel with the Holland army. Of course, that brings in a whole slew of problems for the French, namely that they could be defeated in detail if they move their whole army. So likely they'll send a blocker clearance team to do this, and if my navy is in the Kiel sea zone, then the British Navy can move in with no mines and have an easier go at the Germans. So I'm going to bring them here, repair my battleship, and then consider creating like a seaborne protection here in the future. So for now, we move here. Okay, and then on the east front, this is, to me, this is obvious, but maybe not to the average player. This is a smash. We will smash. So we're going to leave Belarus as the open, so we have a checkerboard sort of defense slash siege where we have a main army that he cannot attack without exposing his capital to the other main army. So likely again he will not attack, and yes, this will not go on ad nauseum. There's a way to break this cycle, so to speak, but this is sort of a 7-10 split. Done this a couple times before in previous games. So we slowly strangle the capital. Ideally, if he just stays there and then sends out blocker clearance teams, what we'll end up doing is, and this I hope to do on Germany's next turn, is basically take the German army and charge the Russian capital. And yeah, we'll take hideous losses, but this, as long as we're not completely wiped out, and we won't be, then the Austro-Hungarians can walk in, not fight, and on the Russians' turn, they have 2 options. They can engage in combat, or they can sit it out and wait to the end of the turn when an armistice is offered. If they attack me, if they attack the CP, then invariably they'll be hopefully attacking at a disadvantage. And if they don't, then I accept the armistice and hopefully have all the territories around the capital. In fact, there might be an argument that you shouldn't do that without taking all the territories around the capital. But anyway, talking way too much as per the usual. Let's just get on with it. I leave my mind open to being changed all the time, at least until the first 30 games are played out. All right. Yeah, you guys stay there. Yeah, that's it. So, just these 2 battles, I think. Should always check Africa. Yeah. Okay, done. Let's do the Ruhr. Kind of a 50-50 if they get a hit or not. Yep, they did. Damn. We need to start catching some breaks here pretty soon. Livonia. Come on. Okay, so this was a fairly par turn overall, at least. So what? Nothing. Okay, drop in our new units. that's it. Fairly straightforward turn. We have 43. So, yeah, that's it. I don't know. If the French don't attack, what do I expect them to do? Well, I don't know. There's a lot of incentive to do this attack. Probably they'll stack everything in Holland and send a blocker clearance team into Kiel. And they might send a British blocker clearance team into Alsace. But then they would be pretty overstretched. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 territories surrounding the Ruhr, and the Ruhr can touch them all, so we'd probably retake the Alsace and the Kiel or attack. I'm not sure. Probably not attack, but yeah, we got to gather a little bit more strength. But if they push into Holland, then we could actually move the army south into Alsace, and we'd expose our capital certainly, but their capital would be exposed as well. Anyway, enough chit chat. Thanks for watching this. All the best from the good captain, and bye bye.